Welcome Toprak Razgatlıoğlu to Moto GP. It's no longer a rumour. We've seen all the rumours for God knows how long, but it's finally been quashed. Toprak is coming to Moto GP with the Pramac Yamaha racing team for 2 seasons, both 2026 and 2027. So today we have a question to answer. We actually have numerous questions to answer on this Tuesday afternoon. Well, first and foremost, what does it mean to Moto GP? Number 2, what's Toprak's expectations now he's here? And number 3, what does it mean for WorldSBK? Because they've lost one hell of a talent there. Well, I guess we're going to find out in this video. So guys, my name's Matt from KneeDown. Let's have a conversation about it. So first things first, and let's start with the obvious. This is huge for Moto GP. Toprak brings flair, unpredictability, and charisma. He's a likeable guy. He's well in the equation with the likes of your Rossis, your Marquez's, and Nicky Haydens. People you just can't dislike. Well, depending what side of the fence you are with the Marquez-Rossi thing. But anyway, moving on. Moving past that, we have a fan favourite that the majority of people love. He's adored in Turkey and he's adored in the entire WorldSBK grid. Rear wheel in the air, braking style unique to none, and just rides like a lunatic. He's going to fit really well in MotoGP, especially at the top level, where even more exposure is coming to the Turkish legend. And I think the good thing about Toprak and his journey is that it's a unique path. I would put it akin to something like Fermin Aldeguer. It's not your traditional Junior GP, Red Bull Rookies, Moto3, Moto2, MotoGP. It's a very unconventional path. And Toprak's has been extremely unique. And if you're not familiar with Toprak's background, he actually started as a stunt rider. Moved into the lower classes, the Super Sports in WorldSBK, promoted to the top, won with Yamaha, made a crazy decision in some people's eyes to move to BMW, and won on there as well. So 2 World Championships for Toprak Razgatlıoğlu. So the gain for MotoGP is huge, massive. It helps the diversity and the fact that we're bringing another nationality to the sport. More history to be made. We've just seen history made at the weekend with Denis Onchu winning the closest ever finish of a Moto2 World Championship race. Things are looking good for MotoGP. And I think MotoGP this season, possibly the last, has been accused of being sometimes a little bit vanilla. The bikes are now beefier and bigger than they ever have been due to the aero, too many tyre rules. Toprak doesn't really fit in with vanilla, so it's a nice little bit of insertion into MotoGP that isn't quite the norm. He's not your typical Spaniard, and he's not your typical Italian rider from an academy brought into MotoGP. This is unique. But let's get real for a second. What is the expectations for Toprak? Now, I would love to sit here and tell you Toprak is going to dominate, he's going to win every single thing in the world, and we'll never ever see anyone win a race again. Would be amazing, would be an incredible story, but you know what, that would actually be crap for the sport. I don't think that's going to happen, and if I'm really honest with things, I don't think Toprak is going to adapt to MotoGP as well as some people are hoping for. Toprak is a beast in WorldSBK, has been with the Yamaha, has been with the BMW, and he was even solid in the smaller category as well with the Kawasaki. The expectations for MotoGP, it's a big jump. I feel this analogy might be negative towards WorldSBK, but it's not supposed to be. Toprak is one of the big fishes in the smaller ponds, where MotoGP is the smaller fish in the biggest pond. You have names like Marc Marquez, Jorge Martin, and Pecco Bagnaia, 3 world champions in the sport, and we could go on with Fabio Quartararo, or even in Joan Mir. There's a lot of world champions in MotoGP. So, expectation-wise, does he come in and instantly make that impact that Pramac Yamaha are looking for? I would say no. It's a brand new bike for him. He has tested the Yamaha before a couple of years ago when Yamaha were struggling. So we might see a bit of a resurgence on that side. Fabio Quartararo is doing absolutely amazing with the Yamaha at the moment. 3 pole positions in a row. Would have had some better results if his bike hadn't failed him and crashes as well. It's genuinely a good feeling for Toprak to go into a team which is excellent. They've had World Championship riders before. They've won numerous races with the Pramac team. But this is a new challenge. So what does Toprak do? Well, I think it's going to be one of those ones where he's going to be feeling out the process for a while. Yes, that stunt run style, that charisma, the showmanship is amazing and it will certainly garner him fans, but I can't expect him beating the likes of Johan Zarco on the Honda, the KTMs, you know, Maverick Vinales is near and near about the podium, Marco Bezzecchi's getting better on the Aprilia. The middle ground is where I think he's going to be. He isn't going to beat the Ducatis. Only people who can beat the Ducati is the Ducati themselves. If they crash, they have a mistake, something goes wrong, that's when Ducati are not going to win, or the situation just doesn't pertain to it. So for Toprak, realistically, he's got to learn a few things. The first season, he's going to have to learn the Michelin tyres. Now, we'll get 2027 in a moment. But for 2026, his first season with the Pramac Yamaha, he will have to learn the tyres, the electronics, and the riding style. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're amazing with a M1000RR in World Superbike. It doesn't necessarily translate to using a YZR M1 Yamaha prototype machine. Now, 2027 might be different. Onto the Pirelli rubber, so tyres he is familiar with. A smaller engine bike from 1000cc to 850 due to MotoGP's changing dynamics. And, of course, less electronics when it comes to 2027. So I think this is a learning season for 2026 for Toprak. He's going to take his time, he's going to get used to it, and then eventually he'll feel it out and be ready to make a step forward in 2027. It is an absolute learning curve season for Toprak, and I hope people don't dismiss this first season off as it already looks bad. He's not adapting to MotoGP like he should have done. They should have gone for Nicolo Bulega, for example. It's going to be a learning curve, and I am a realist when it comes to this. I really like Toprak. I was one of the few people who felt like he'd do well with BMW, and so far I've been proven right. But I would like to be proven wrong here. I'd like for him to come in and just smash it and to be amazing. But realistic and not being the dreamer, we do have to expect the average. I don't think he's going to disappoint, but I think he will reach the expectations of Pramac Yamaha, but possibly not the fans. But what's his ceiling for the future? Sure, we've talked about the first season, we've discussed briefly the 2027 season, but what's his future? Where's his ceiling going to lie? Is it going to be something similar to Cal Crutchlow, or maybe even Ben Spies? Will he win a couple of races? Will he just take a couple of podiums? Or will he not like it and move back to World Superbike? Because something that has brought up this season is Toprak's mentality. If he's not winning, he's not happy. We've seen at the start of the season, straight away the second the season started, the BMW was not the same bike as it was last season without the additional concessions. And it frustrated Toprak. You know, the comments about the Ducati Cup, the comments about, unless you're on a Ducati, you can't win, the BMW's going backwards. And will his mentality and his personality allow him to finish as the also ran? You know, in those situations where the race is not going to be good for him, it happens. You know, even Marquez has bad days. But it's important not to just give up. Being in a situation where you're no longer the top guy could be a big negative. So let's talk the expectation then for the long-term service. I wrote a few things down here which I'm looking at here, and I'm thinking maybe something like an Aleix Espargaro arc. Late bloomer as a shot contender towards the more and more years as he gets on with MotoGP. Maybe it's a different refined version of Toprak, but I see it taking a good few years before he really gets the feel of things, and we're talking about him being in the right place at the right time, fighting with some of the best riders. But it all depends on what happens in 2027. If the bikes change significantly, maybe to the benefit of Toprak, a bike that is similar towards the M1000RR in the sense of power and torque, I'm definitely going to say the late bloomer arc. Take him a couple of years to get into things, and once that finally gets there and things are clicking, he's changed his style ever so slightly, I think then we could be seeing the best of Toprak Razgatlıoğlu. But don't get me wrong, guys, this is all open for interpretation. I read the news, I made a graphic post about it earlier, and I was so excited to get on with this video that I just pretty much wrote a few things together. just so we can have this conversation, just so we can chat about it in the comment section down below, because the sooner we get this video out, the more we can chat about it and discuss the future of MotoGP, which is looking rather bright. Brighter than that light coming in behind me. So let's get to the other side. MotoGP, happy as Larry, you know, they're building sandcastles in the sand, they're chuffed. They've got Toprak Razgatlıoğlu. Toprak's pleased, he's moving to the Premier class. But what does it mean for World Superbike? There's only two people in World Superbike right now who deserve the moniker of being Mr. Superbike. And that's Nicola Bulega and Toprak Razgatlıoğlu. Unfortunately, Jonathan Rea has not quite adapted to the Yamaha due to his injuries. Alvaro Bautista is looking older, unfortunately, and I think he's going to call it quits soon. We've got our two best riders who are neck and neck, separated by 31 points in the World Championship, and one of them's leaving next season. This adds two things. World Superbikes this season is one to watch. Do not miss a race now for World Superbike, because you will miss Bulega versus Toprak. It might be the last time we see it, so make sure you watch Superbike this season. It hurts for World Superbike massively to lose a talent like that, and then it asks the question, who's going to compete with Bulega? Rea's off the Kawasaki, he's on the Yamaha, struggling. No Bautista, no Toprak for next season, it's just Bulega. That is not so exciting anymore. So I think we're genuinely going to see a huge spike of interest for World Superbike this season and a huge drop off next season. But honestly, how do you replace Toprak Razgatlıoğlu? How does World Superbike now say, you know what? We've lost our lead singer in our band, who do we get in now? He has such a unique voice that you're not going to be able to replace him. They really need someone else to step up. Maybe Bimota by Kawasaki can really get involved. Maybe Yamaha can have a resurgence. Maybe Jonathan Rea does adapt to it. Might be a bit negative, but I'm just being realistic at this point. I think really, Dawn need to figure out a way to keep World Superbike relevant now that Toprak's moving. And if I'm not mistaken, I just saw, should I say, that Bulega has signed a test riding role with Factory Ducati in MotoGP. So he might be doing double duty next season. Could that be a way for him to come to World Superbike as well? And this is going to sound crazy, what I'm going to say here. It would be better for World Superbike to lose both riders than one of them to keep it relevant. If you move Toprak, you get Bulega winning. If you take Bulega away, you get Toprak winning. If you remove them both, who's going to win? See my point? So before we wrap things up, let's have a little bit of a stab in the dark. Let's go for it. Let's not sit on the fence anymore. I'll put something out there, and if I'm wrong, I'll hold my hand up in the next video and I'll say apologies or whatever. I'm going to be realistic with you. I think Toprak next season finishes 13th. I think he'll have a couple of good point scoring races, just enough to keep him round about there. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below. I think he'll be doing a lot of battling with those mid-pack riders, probably a lot of the Hondas I mentioned to the likes of Joan Mir earlier. I think he'll be fighting with those. Luca Marini, God knows what's going to happen with the Honda team. Maybe we do see Martin on the Honda. Maybe he'll be around there. Not sure. So, you know what? Enough about me. Enough about my opinions. What do you think? What is your assumption or expectation for Toprak next season? Let me know a specific, detailed answer to that question. Do you think he'll finish 10th, 15th, 13th, 14th, or even 1st? If you feel it, put it in the comment section and let's talk about it down below. So guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this sort of raw view with me just chilling in front of the camera, chatting to the good people of KneeDown. So yeah, thanks for watching guys. Let me know in the comment section if you enjoyed this video and I'll see you next time. Ciao for now.